Hello everyone, I am Isha and today I will be talking about my project named Beach Gatha, which means Story of the Seed. I was born in Mumbai but my roots are here at Palghar, which is my native place. My early stories come from my grandmother of sowing wari millets before monsoon, storing grains in clay kotis and gathering greens from the forest. Those memories weren't just about food, they were about living in rhythm with the land as well. Now, as a designer, I return not just to listen but to understand how those rhythms can guide our future in a climate uncertain world. Palghar matters because it is Maharashtra's most biodiverse district. Over 250 edible plants grow here, like wari, kulit, and vegetables like yam, leafy greens, which you won't even find in any markets. And yet, in this land of plenty, 4 out of 10 children are stunned. Biodiversity alone doesn't feed people when the system connecting people to that biodiversity is broken. The district is a patchwork of forested hills as well. There is a fertile plain and a fishing coast to this region. It's a home to Warli, Katkari, and Mahadevi Koli communities. Their seasonal calendars and farming practices were perfectly adapted to local ecology. Their planting and harvesting is guided by the monsoon, the soil, and the moon. Losing that rhythm isn't just a cultural loss, it's losing a climate survival skill as well. This story moves forward in 4 eras, I would say: the seed coms era, tax and timber, green but not sovereign, and climate stress and memories. In seed com era, before markets defined value, seeds were considered to be wealth. People in this era, families and other people swapped, saved, and gifted seeds to each other. That's how the mixing of millets and pulses and vegetables used to happen for survival. Their storage system was very simple. They used bamboo and clay, which was breathable, without any chemicals, no electricity, no dependency. They used to only handle it with care and craft. In tax and timber, it was under British rule that the forests were declared to be a state property. They started taking revenue from the people and imposed crash crops over local millets. That's how the safety of the people got thinner and thinner in this era. Third would be the green but not sovereign era. The Green Revolution raised yields but narrowed diets, I would say. They made people more and more dependent, and that's in this era the hybrid seed fertilizers and pump pushed out a lot, but it weakened the soil life, water tables, and crop diversity. In this era, I would say the efficiency grew but the resilience eroded. In the climate stress and memory, now we can see the monsoons are very unpredictable, which are late, uncertain, and uneven, which creates a lot of crop loss for the people. And yet, memory remains in seed jars, planting songs, and elders' hands. Those memories aren't nostalgia, I would say, they are climatic tools which would help us to come out of this issue. In pre-colonial Wari agriculture system, they used to take inspiration from the seasonal clues like blooming of the karse grass and birds call like koel signal that it's a sowing time. They used to use multi-cropping, like they used to sow more than one crops at a time rather than monoculture, and they had a certain platforms like songs, dances like Tarpa and Varli paintings through which they knowledge to the next generation. In barley farming, self reliance shaped every step. They use clay coatis, store millets, pulses, and seeds in that, which last up to 18 months without chemicals or electricity. This practice protected nutrition and seed viability. And locally made wooden bullock plows uh, worked on uneven terrain and preserved the soil structure. And the hand selected seeds after every harvest ensured that varieties suited to the local rainfall, soil, and pest. By using this local material and skill and renewable energy, this system remained strong against the fuel shortage and market disruptions. Before colonial rule, Varli agriculture worked in harmony with the local system. Multi-cropping forests, low impact tools maintain soil moisture, preserved biodiversity, and stabilized microclimates. But now, after the colonial rule, after the Indian Forest Act, and imposition of cash crop policies disrupted the balance of the ecosystem. Forest clearing, monocultures, and intensive tailing increase erosion. They reduce water retention and weaken the climate buffers. Over decades, these changes increase vulnerability, and present day Palghar is now more exposed to erratic rainfall, heat waves, and flood. How all this is affecting India? The pest surge, warmer and humid spells increase pest lifestyle and damage the crops. There's a water scarcity, heat stress, erratic monsoon destroys the crop. There is a big malnutrition issue happening in Palghar and cultural loss as well. As polished rice and wheat replaced millets and pulses, and iron, fiber, and micronutrients fell off the plate from the locals. This result in stunning and anemia, not because the land is lacking food, but because the system is broken the link between the biodiversity and the everyday meals. There is a case study where it's called the Warli Seed Keeper, where in Jawar, Warli women served as a guardians of the diversity by preserving over 50 indigenous seed varieties for decades. They stored this steel in the mitti kothas and clay pots using ash and neem leaves, which are natural preservatives. This method keeps the seeds viable for 12 to 10 months without any chemicals or refrigerator. This diversity ensures that even in drought years or during pest attacks, at least one crop will survive. Seeding keeping Seed keeping is a deep cultural practice connected to ritual, wedding, and seasonal exchange. However, it faces threat today because of hybrid seeds and cash crop market, which risk the loss of locally adapted gene heritage. Warli elders passed down agriculture knowledge through paintings, dance, and bhajans, which are folk songs. Mural shows the cycle of planting, weeding, and harvesting, acting as a visual calendar for the next generation. Songs and Tarpa dance celebrate seasonal events such as the first rain, harvest festival, and help people remember importance of ecological signals. These cultural methods keep farming knowledge alive even without written records. However, they face challenge as younger generations are moving away from the native place. Our first precedent is the wild food festivals, which main intention is to revive the forgotten food. In Palghar tribal areas, One Bhojan Mahotsav brings community together to celebrate seasonal biodiversity. Women prepare wild green like greens like chauli and takla, forest yams and mushrooms and berries that have supported the Warli for generations. These events promote dietary diversity, revive pride in indigenous food culture, and involves youth through cooking, competition, recipe sharing, and storytelling. Beyond nutrition, they strengthen seed exchange networks and highlights the connection between forest health and food security and climate resilience. Second precedence is Odisha's seed sovereignty model, where women-led community saves seeds in a seed bank. In Odisha, more than 3,000 women farmers have revived over 150 indigenous crop varieties through community seed banks. By preserving millets, pulses, and drought tolerant paddy strains in bamboo basket and clay pots, they have lessened their dependency on outside seeds and chemical fertilizers. This effort has improved household nutrition, restored degraded soils, and increased resilience to unpredictable rainfall. This woman led model shows how seed sovereignty can tackle both climate change and nutrition security in vulnerable rural areas. Voices of the land, a site. The land, memory, and more than human world speak. The land. Farmers report that the soil is hardening and losing its ability to retain rainwater. This change comes from deforestation, deep tilling, and less organic matter. Cultural memories. Elders remember a time when even a drought, no one went hungry. They credit diverse cropping and forest foods for the resilience. More than human world, the drop in bees, butterflies, and native pollinators is clearly lowering. Yields for crops like pulses, gourd, and oil seeds. This decline threatens both biodiversity and food security. Together, all these voices show that food systems are ecological, cultural, and relational. Restoring resilience involves listening to all these three. Policy versus ecology versus culture. In Palghar, three forces shape agriculture future, often in conflict. One would be the policy. The state program and subsidies encourage hybrid seeds and crash crops like soybean and sugarcane. They prioritize market integration over food sovereignty. Ecology. Agrobiodiversity includes vari millets, kulit, and wild yams. Is vital for soil health, pest resistance, and adapting to climate change. Third would be the culture. Polyculture farming system are part of Warli ritual, seasonal calendars, and art. They create both ecological resilience and cultural continuity. These forces interact but compete. Policies favor monoculture, ecological demands diversity, and culture preserves knowledge than policy often ignores. The challenge is to recognize these priorities before biodiversity and heritage are irreversibly lost. The main policy gap. There is a missing link of food sovereignty. Maharashtra's agriculture policy view climate change mainly as a technical issue. It promotes expanding irrigation, provides fertilizer subsidy, and improving seed variety. This approach overlooks the social and cultural aspect of farming, such as indigenous seed diversity, seasonal knowledge, and self reliance practice that are rooted in community traditions. By encouraging dependency on hybrid seeds and purchased inputs, the policy increases vulnerability, particularly for rain fed tribal farming system like the Warli. The resilience relies on local biodiversity and knowledge. The four main opportunity areas where we can intervene are the seed sovereignty platform, cultural climate education, and wild food revival schemes. Framing the challenge. The two main stream where I can take forward this project would be how might we restore seed sovereignty in Palghar and make sure younger generation values and uses indigenous varieties. And the second one would be how might we incorporate Warli cultural knowledge into climate adaptation strategies for food security. Climate justice means putting the Warli at the center as they design their own adaptation. This approach ensures that ecological knowledge, cultural identity, and control over resources are essential. Strengthening local control over seeds and farming decisions. Protect and share cultural memories through participatory processes, and deliver ecological resilience with minimal reliance on outside resources. This principle ensures that the solutions are not act of charity or extraction, instead they focus on creating systems of survival and dignity together. Thank you.